If you rely on Social Security, this affects you right now. Six major changes have officially been approved for 2026, and they're going to reshape how over 70 million Americans live, budget, and retire. This isn't just a small policy tweak. This is about your monthly check, your healthcare costs, and your peace of mind. Because the truth is, what happens next year could decide whether seniors and people with disabilities can actually keep up or fall further behind. I know that sounds serious, and it is. So stay with me until the end, because I'm going to walk you through exactly what's changing, how much you could gain, and where the real risks still lie. This is breaking news for your wallet, your health, and your future. And listen, before we go further, just tap that like button. It's one small way to make sure this update reaches every senior, every caregiver, and every family that depends on Social Security. All right, let's dive in. I'm Laura, and for years I've helped people like you make sense of what's coming next, especially when it comes to Social Security, Medicare, and retirement changes. I spend every day digging through the official releases from the Social Security Administration, the Treasury, and the Congressional Budget Office to translate their complex reports into something that actually makes sense. Because I know how confusing all of this can get. One letter from the SSA, one notice about Medicare, and suddenly you're left wondering if your check is going up or if it's about to shrink. And every year, it feels like we're holding our breath, waiting to see how much the cost of living adjustment, the COLA, will help or hurt. Well, for 2026, we finally have answers. Six big Social Security changes are officially locked in. Some are good, some not so much. But every single one of them matters. Now let's start by addressing the heart of it, the cost of living adjustment, or COLA. Inflation has cooled compared to the pandemic spike, but prices for groceries, rent, electricity are still higher than ever. So the SSA confirmed a 2.8% COLA increase for 2026. That's a little higher than the 2.5% we saw for 2025. It means the average retirement benefit will rise from roughly $2,215 a month to $2,271. That's about $56 more per month, starting with payments going out December 31, 2025. Technically the first check of the new year. For married couples both receiving benefits, that number rises to $3,028. For survivors, $1,919. For people receiving disability benefits, $1,630. And the maximum SSI benefit will move just under the $1,000 mark to $994 a month. That sounds encouraging, right? But then you look at the fine print. Because Medicare Part B premiums, the amount deducted from most Social Security checks, are projected to jump 11.6% from $185 to $206.50. And that means a lot of people will lose around $21.50 of that COLA bump right off the top. So yes, the government is giving more with one hand and taking a little back with the other. Now imagine being one of the millions of retirees living on a fixed income. You see the headlines, COLA increase for 2026. You think finally, maybe a bit of breathing room. But then you open your statement and realize your rent's up, your utility bill's up, your groceries are up 21% in just 3 years, and your check, it's up 2.8%. That gap between what seniors need and what the system delivers is growing. And that's why this new debate over how COLA is calculated is so important. Right now, the formula uses something called CPIW, the Consumer Price Index for Urban Wage Earners. That tracks inflation based on younger working Americans. But retirees don't spend their money like that. They spend more on housing, medical care, and utilities. So, there's a new bill being pushed that would switch to CPIE, the Consumer Price Index for the elderly. If approved, it would finally measure inflation based on the real expenses seniors face every month. It's not just about numbers, it's about fairness. Think about it. A gallon of milk, a prescription refill, a winter heating bill. Those are the things that define the cost of living for people on Social Security, and CPIE would finally account for them. Analysts say it could raise future COLAs by as much as 0.5% each year. That might not sound like much, but over a decade, it's thousands of dollars in difference. Now let's move to the next major change: Social Security taxes. The tax rate stays the same, 12.4% split between you and your employer, but the income limit rises. In 2026, you'll pay that tax on income up to $184,500, up from $176,200 this year. So higher earners will contribute more to keep the system funded. And here's a bit of good news. Under the newly passed bill, 80% of Social Security recipients will no longer pay federal tax on their benefits. That's a big shift, and for many middle-income retirees, it could mean hundreds in savings each year. Next, let's talk about the earnings test. If you're collecting Social Security before your full retirement age, currently between 66 and 67, and you're still working, some of your benefits can be temporarily withheld if you earn too much. In 2026, that threshold rises to $24,480, up from $23,400, so you can earn a little more before benefits start being reduced. And finally, the qualifying credits. To qualify for Social Security retirement, you need 40 credits, roughly 10 years of work. In 2026, you'll earn 1 credit for every $1,890 in income, up from $1,840. That means you'll hit your full 4 credits after earning about $7,560 for the year. These 6 changes, from COLA to Medicare to taxes, shape the financial reality for millions. But let me pause here and tell you a story, because numbers alone don't tell the truth. People do. A few months ago, I heard from a woman named Linda, a retired school secretary from Ohio. She's 74, lives alone, and she's proud of the fact that she's managed her budget carefully her whole life. Every month, her Social Security check covers rent, groceries, and medications. But when her utility bill doubled last winter, she started cutting corners, watering down her milk, skipping her blood pressure pills every other day to stretch them out. When I asked her what the hardest part was, she said, "It's not the money, Tony. It's the feeling that I've done everything right, and I'm still falling behind." That stuck with me, because behind every Social Security statistic, there's a Linda, someone who worked, paid in, and just wants stability now. And that's why staying informed, staying prepared, matters more than ever. Now, if you're new here, I want to say this. I'm here every single week breaking down these updates, from COLA announcements to stimulus proposals to Medicare changes, so you're never left in the dark. If you find value in that, consider subscribing and turning on notifications, because I'll always bring you the facts, in plain English, before the rumors start spreading online. All right, so what can you actually do right now? Here's some practical guidance. First, check your Social Security statement online through your My Social Security account. Make sure your earnings history is accurate, because even one wrong year can affect your benefit calculation. Second, if you're approaching 65 or already on Medicare, prepare for that premium increase now. Set aside a small cushion so the COLA doesn't feel like it disappears overnight. Third, watch out for scams. Whenever Social Security changes are announced, scammers flood inboxes pretending to be the SSA or Medicare. Remember, they will never call, text, or email asking for your Social Security number or payment info. Fourth, if you receive SSI, know that your December 31st payment will actually reflect the new rate, even though it's technically for January. So don't be caught off guard when that deposit hits a day early. And finally, if you're still working and collecting early benefits, track your income carefully. If you go over that $24,480 limit, your benefits could be temporarily reduced. And no one wants that surprise at tax time. These steps might seem small, but they protect you, because Social Security isn't just a government program, it's a promise. And like any promise, you have to keep an eye on it. Now let's zoom out for a moment. What does all of this mean for the bigger picture, for retirees, the economy, and our shared future? It means the system is evolving, but slowly. It means seniors are still bearing the brunt of inflation that official numbers don't always capture. And it means that now, more than ever, we have to keep pushing for reforms that reflect reality, not just bureaucracy. When we fight for CPIE, we're not asking for luxury. We're asking for fairness. When we advocate for Medicare transparency, we're not being demanding. We're being responsible. This is about dignity, about the right to age without fear. You know, my mom used to say, we paid in with our youth. We deserve security in our age, and she was right. Because peace of mind shouldn't be a privilege. It should be part of the promise. So as we move into 2026, let's stay alert, stay united, and keep each other informed. Because when we know the facts, we can protect what's ours. So let me leave you with this thought. What would it mean to finally have peace of mind? To know your benefits are secure, your bills are manageable, and your future is steady? That's the goal. And every update, every reform, every change brings us one step closer. I'm Tony. Thank you for watching, for caring, and for standing with millions of other Americans who simply want a fair shot at stability. Take care of yourself, take care of each other, and I'll see you in the next video.